Hey, welcome to this week's GeekStorm. Sean's not here. Luckily, we've got an even better co-host. Mike Dukes is sitting in where he's promised to say next to nothing. Hey, we're coming to you live.
I'm going to be Silent Bob.
I'm just saying, anything would be an improvement. We're coming to you live from downtown Kokomo. Kokomo Toys and Collectibles, 111 East Sycamore Street, just 2 doors down from Comics Cubed, which is 121 East Sycamore, right along Geek Street here. All growing up, all I heard was Kokomo was known for a particular adult establishment that everybody would come, oh, you're from Kokomo? You've been to blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you that the times they are a-changing, okay? There's a shift, not only in demographic, but in knowledge of what people think of Kokomo, and it's because of Geek Street and especially places like here at Kokomo Toys.
Unless you're that Zamboni operator, in which case you say, screw the toy store, I'm not going to shovel your snow. You can deal with it. Why would you, Zamboni, all the way right up to the building and stop? Don't know. You don't like toys? Okay, fine, buddy.
Maybe he doesn't like toys.
Maybe not.
Maybe he's from the island of misfit toys.
Possibly.
Maybe he's a heat miser.
Bad Barbie experience. I don't know.
We've all been there.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Anyway, so this week a lot's happened. You guys covered last week a lot of the stuff with Gina Carano and everything. We're not going to cover that at all, really, other than to say that the latest we're hearing is that they're deciding not to. Disney's coming out saying they're deciding not to recast Cara Dune, which is fine with me. I was telling Mike earlier, I thought she was fantastic in a movie about 10 years ago called Haywire. It was her breakout role in movies. It was a serious movie with a serious director and serious stars. She just happened to be the star of the movie, but like Antonio Banderas and Fassbender and Ewan McGregor, and just it was a really good little spy movie, and she was great in it. Cara Dune, I didn't really, not that I didn't care for her, but she didn't really do anything for me. To me, she didn't add much to the show, so that's fine. I'm not worried about seeing that character again, and you recast her and you bring her up in conversation again. You recast her and she's in Mando 3 2 years from now, or whenever it is, and all of a sudden we're talking about her again. And I'm sure that's the last thing Disney wants.
Haywire, like you said, it was her starring vehicle. Mm-hmm. I liked it. Mm-hmm. And then it seemed like every part she got after that was, I won't say bit parts, but kind of tertiary characters.
She didn't talk a lot?
Yeah.
A lot of toothpicks in mouths?
a lot of just hitting stuff.
Right.
So Mandalorian was really the first
chance she got to spread her acting wings in quite a while.
Like I was telling you, she had said she was seriously considering just exiting the whole acting gig anyway until they came to her with this, and it reignited her passion, and now apparently she's taken her passion to a other venue.
So, sorry about that, Gina. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
But I figure Mandalorian...
it's going to be okay.
He's going to... I mean, technically he is Mandalore. He possesses the Darksaber, so... they've got to take back Mandalore. That's going to be a whole thing unto itself. You don't really need a marshal. We
may not ever go to that corner of the galaxy again. We may never need to. She was off a marshal of some small town. I'd like to go see Vance Cobb. Is that what his name was? I'd like to go see him again because I'll take Timothy Oliphant all day long.
We might, though. I mean, the Boba Fett series looks like it's on Tatooine. He took over Jabba's palace, so we might see old Cobb Vance.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. But on from Disney Plus, there's a lot of Disney Plus news actually. One of the first things is they've, if you remember on first season of Mandalorian, they came out with the gallery and they showed I don't know 4 or 5 episodes, how many episodes it was, but behind the scenes of the Mandalorian, and they've decided to do that now with the Marvel properties that they've got on Disney Plus, and they're doing a weekly feature called Assembled, in which they go behind the scenes on their Disney Plus Marvel MCU shows. And having that start, and I think it starts March 12th, I think
that's
I didn't write that on there. Plugging those in there allows them, if they space them correctly, which I imagine they probably will, they can have an MCU show on every single week of the year. With the Assembled coming after WandaVision, then you go right into Falcon Winter Soldier, then I assume they'll do an Assembled about that, and then I don't know what's coming after that. Maybe I don't think She-Hulk is started principal photography yet. But
after that, they're probably crossing their fingers that May will hit and Black Widow will finally be in theaters.
They're still hunkered down on theaters for Black Widow. Once in a while, you'll see a story pop up. I feel like it's clickbait, even from some of the more respectable sites saying they're considering doing the cross promotional or the cross release with Disney Plus, like Warner Brothers did with Wonder Woman. Yeah, they're considering everything. They've got people that are doing nothing but sitting in offices considering stuff. You are where's my vice president of consideration? Oh, there he is, right there. Okay, yeah, they're considering everything. What they'll do, what they're leaning into right now anyway, is a theatrical release. Still, we'll see. It is out of their hands. They've got number crunchers. They've got a guy that says this many people are vaccinated. This many people are going to the theaters. We'll make this amount of money. We'll lose this amount of money. Let's do this instead of this. That's how it works. Mike, that's how the world works, okay?
Actually, it's kind of funny you mentioned that. Sean and I just got emails from Gen Con a couple of days back, and it was a survey asking all types of questions. When would you feel safe to go back to having in-person contact? And one of those things was, what if we required everyone to be vaccinated before they could even step foot in there? So, I mean, it's not just movie theaters. It's every big event is having to consider what is going to make people feel safe, what is actually going to be safe, what extra measures do they need to take. It's going to be a different world.
Man, conventions are going to be interesting. I've talked to Carl Donninger, who's one of the guys that runs Indie PopCon, and he has said, it's day by day, case by case, and they're waiting to see how things go. But safety is always the priority. A thing like Gen Con, not only. Okay, so let's say I'm completely making this up. Let's say you get 50,000 people through the door for a PopCon, and I know Gen Con is much more. But 50,000 people through the door through a PopCon. Do you say, okay, this year we're only going to allow 25,000 people? That doesn't mean people don't congregate. You have less people, so technically if you threw them out like sand, yeah, they'd spread out, but that's not how things work, especially Gen Con. You sit around a table with other people, and you're talking, round tables like this, and you're playing games, you're maybe even, touching some of the same things, and you're within definite spreading distance of this. So, man, I don't know if we'll see conventions this year or not. It'd be great. I would not be against the vaccination requirement.
I mean, they mentioned, the possibility of extending outdoor venues, obviously, cleaning everything after games and whatnot, but still, like you said, there's a lot of people shoved in these rooms playing games, or the exhibit hall, the Great Hall where you're just buying stuff.
Yeah.
It's jam-packed, literally shoulder to shoulder.
And what do you do when you go to a convention? Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I don't want that. Oh, neat. Like that. Everybody is going to be touching every single thing all day long for 4 days, okay? You can't avoid that. You're going to...
A lot of games, they'll have demos right there at the booth.
Right.
Come, roll our dice, grab our figures. Yeah.
It's going to be, again, just like small businesses like this, it's going to be a function of how much danger do we put people in versus how much longer can I survive without making money at the thing that I do. A lot of people who don't go to conventions might think that it's a folly for a lot of people. Some of these people, that is their full-time job. They go from convention to convention to convention. They move their stuff every week. They go, they set it up, they sell some, they tear down what they don't sell, and they move on to the next one. That's how they make their living, especially game companies. For games, Gen Con is the place where people go to pitch their new games, their demos, and sell their existing product, as well as getting eyes on some of the stuff they've had on the shelf for years. And if they can't do that, they got to go get another job, which that's...
I mean, last year it was all virtual. So I could easily see a hybrid of a lot of virtual games and a few in-person events. I just don't know exactly how that would work out.
It'd be interesting to see.
I mean, you're not going to get... Because Gen Con draws people from literally all over the world. So obviously, if you're over in Europe, you're probably not going to take a plane flight just to... limited stuff.
Now, we had a Super Bowl, but people were expected to pretty much stay in their seats. There's not a lot, I say, of milling around at a game where there's a guy and there's 3 empty seats, and there's a guy and there's 3 empty seats, that type of thing. But the conventions are totally different, and it'll be interesting to see what the first big one is that decides to have their show or not.
I mean, I feel bad going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
If I grab something, I'll think, well, I don't really need that. I'll start to put it back. I'm like, wait, I've touched this. Should I put it back? Or my wife tells me, go get avocados. Make sure they're not hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, but other I feel bad.
Yeah. All right, switching gears. Did you see the trailer for Cruella?
I did.
Okay, so if you don't know who
Was
Cruella
not
is,
expecting that.
From 101 Dalmatians, which is a very old Disney animated feature, there was the main villainess was Cruella DeVille, and she's been portrayed before. I think
Glenn Close, one.
was it Glenn Close?
Yeah.
I was thinking, okay, Glenn Close, and that was a 101 Dalmatians remake, a live-action remake. This is a film specifically about the character Cruella, starring Emma Stone, who I think Emma Stone is fantastic. I've rarely seen her in anything that I didn't like at least her performance in. This trailer, though, was very, very different in that I don't know who this movie is for yet. I don't know if it's for children or...
I don't think so.
I don't know. But it's a children's character. Now
I got serious Harley Quinn and serious Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman vibes.
I got
off of
much
this.
more, and that's what I was going to bring up, and I'm glad you did. I've got much more of a Harley Quinn vibe than I did a Joker, like people are saying. They're trying to compare it to Joker, and I think that's just kind of a catchphrase right now, or a catchword, because it was so controversial and it was so good, but it's not that movie. Joker was deeply troubling and dealt with some very real issues in mental health. This isn't that, I don't think. This is that light, like Harley Quinn is that light. It's more flippant. Flippant violence, flippant mental illness, maybe, or whatever. I listened to the trailer, or I watched the trailer again this morning, and as I did, I tried to imagine the character on the screen. Every scene was Harley instead of her, and it fit in almost perfectly for the whole thing. So I don't know if that's consciously what they're doing, but that seems to be where they're going.
Harley, or like I mentioned, Batman Returns, Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman was the mousy secretary until that one moment, and then the switch was flipped. That's
I don't know if we'll see it. Did you get that out of the trailer? Because I didn't think that it would be something like that. I thought like it was, she all of a sudden did the thing with her hair, but I don't know that she was mousy or anything before that, according to the trailer. I don't know.
Hard to tell.
Yeah, but it's definitely, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. Things like that, man, you never know if they're going to hit, because if they are switching audiences from the intended or from the original source material. Of course, those kids have all grown up and they're us now. Okay, so
that may be what they're banking on.
We go to the movies too. We have very adult friends that go to Disney all the time, and they're all about the Disney villains. And Sean is on vacation next week. I think, is he going to Disney or not? But
I don't know where he's going.
But they've been before. He has no children. People enjoy the things that are wrapped up in all the Disney characters, and they're adults. So it's possible. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't that big of a budget either, so it was a gamble that was easy to take.
When I first saw it, I thought it was going to be animated, and then I was actually shocked that it was live action. Mm-hmm. And then doubly so, how the dark tones it had.
Right.
Especially being in Disney movies.
That's one I could see. I could see that being on Disney Plus and not missing a beat, because I don't know how successful that would be.
Yeah.
In theaters. But again, it depends on what else is released and who's going to the theater. My wife and I saw New Mutants in the theater on a Friday night, and we were the only people there. And that was 6 months ago when it came out. But nobody was there. Nobody was going. Now, there weren't a lot of great movies out either. So
I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
You can complain that people aren't going to theaters. Well, what's in the theaters other than movies that have been already out for 6 months or a year or two already?
I think definitely this pandemic, and we're going to get off this, I think this pandemic has definitely sped up what was already happening with movie theaters. Yeah, people went to the movie theater in droves for the big tent poles and stuff, and there's nothing like a theater experience for an Avengers Endgame. But for a movie like this, do I have to see that in the theater? Now that I have the option, do I have to see that in the theater? I probably don't. I don't know. Moving on to video games. There's a very popular video game called The Last of Us, which, did it get a sequel, Last of Us 2? Okay. And HBO's picked it up. Again, HBO and Disney Plus are really cranking up the production on their home app release stuff. And if you get something that's made by HBO if I've got a property, if I made XYZ toy, if I made XYZ comic book, and I want to get it made into a movie, my number one stop is HBO. Okay, that's where I want it done because they throw money at it, they throw marketing at it, and they already have a monster audience. Okay.
Also, I've long said a lot of books that are converted into movies should not be a movie. It should be a miniseries at the minimum.
Right.
So being able to give characters the full breadth that they deserve instead of trying to cram everything into a 2-hour movie.
Right.
HBO, something like that's the way to go.
And think about it from the company's point of view when they say, okay, we're gonna pay $100 million for the rights to be able to show The Matrix 4. Okay, cool. We're gonna throw it in November 2022. It's there. People have seen it. What happens in December 2022? But if I do a series and it's something you like, I've got you for the next 6-8 months because that's something you want to see. And what you're talking about HBO, which is what I want you to do. So, again, The Last of Us is, I don't know much about this, but being that they've cast 2 pretty quality actors, and we'll talk about that, I want to get the game and play it now because I know it's very popular, but I'm not a console guy, and I don't get into a lot of console games. But now that I know that it's something worthy of a story, rather than just a free world roamer that you go around killing things, I do want to get the game and play it. So anybody who's got a PS4 they want to sell, pretty cheap, I'll pick it off your hands. But cast as in the main character is Pedro Pascal, who's on a friggin' roll right now. Okay, so he can pretty much write a check wherever he wants, and they're gonna cash it. And then starring as the little girl is the young lady who played Lady Mormont in Game of Thrones. She was great in that.
Yep.
And I won't get into this, but I just finished yesterday rewatching all of Game of Thrones again, and she was fantastic. It was one of those. Every moment she had was cool. Every single moment she had on screen, which was few, I'm gonna say 7, was fantastic for her to play that character. So I'm sure she's gonna do well in this also. Do you know much about the game? Have you ever played that game?
I've got it. I started it. Didn't get very far.
Is it a zombie type of thing? Is it a
kind of?
Is it a?
They're not traditional zombies.
Apocalypse type of deal. Okay. So I do want to get that and play it. And it looks like it'll be fun. Anyway, I get we talk a lot of. Guys like us will get on, whether we're on Twitter or on Facebook, and we get all kinds bombarded by information of this is in development and this is in development. We'll talk about Constantine, that's in development now at HBO. In development is just the first hurdle, man. It's just the first hurdle. It's a guy saying, okay, I'm going to throw $50,000 at this. You go and see what you can make of it. Find me a script. Find me a producer. Find the money, and if it's good, we'll make it. Okay?
Yeah, it still has to be written. Then you've got to get directors, the whole shebang.
When something is cast, though, that makes me think, okay, if I cast Pedro Pascal, that means an A-list actor right now, and he is A-list right now, I think, has set aside, okay, I will do this movie from this month to this month in this year. I will be available for this show. I've carved that out. I now have to sign my name and say no to everything else.
Is it a movie or a limited series?
It's a limited series. But I have to, something awesome might come along. Scorsese might knock on my door. I have to say no to Scorsese because I'm contractually obligated to do this. So when something gets cast, that's when it's, to me, really real. Like, this is going to happen.
It's caused the rumor mills to start running because, well, does this mean he's going to stop The Mandalorian?
Right. He's supposed to film it, what I understand, after Mandalorian 3 is when he's supposed to film this show.
Well, that whole thing about him being not liking the fact that you couldn't see his face. And then, okay, you've got a number of YouTubers, which this is a pet peeve of mine. Mm-hmm. YouTubers who claim to be experts and have insider knowledge.
Not like us.
And they're just making crap up.
Right. We don't make crap up. We tell you things other people make up for the most part.
And the thing is, they get tons of followers just making.
So people were saying that he was unhappy about having the mask on all the time.
Yeah, about having the helmet having the helmet on all the time. Uh-huh. And then, of course, latter part of the season, he takes the helmet off a few times. Mm-hmm. So they're like, that's justification. See?
Let me tell you why he takes the helmet off. And if you watch the gallery, they explain this. In order for him to not be credited at the end of the year as a voice actor, as an actual actor, he had to take the helmet off. That's why he did it once in season 1, and they did it for story reasons in season 2. Whether that was also the same reason, but they at least wove it into the story as to why he had to take it off. But if he is masked the entire time, he's only credited as a voice actor for award shows or for whatever consideration. So that's why they did it. I don't know how y'all on that, but also, and if you watch the thing, there's 3 different people playing the Mandalorian, and they're very open about it.
Well, I think what started it was he had that play he had to do, or he wanted to do, and they said, go ahead and do it, because you're going to be masked anyway, and no one's going to know. And that got people thinking, well, do you even need him?
Right.
He could just do voiceover work.
Right. There's a stuntman. There's 2 other stuntmen besides him. When he's not in it, it's either the stuntman that's really good at fighting, or the stuntman that's good at just other action.
One of them is John Wayne's grandson.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. So yeah, it is what it is. There's no story there. There's nothing to complain about. It's
doesn't mean you won't find YouTubers talking about it and claiming it is true.
Right. Let's see. Talked about that and other things. You guys talked a little bit about WandaVision. The thing is, we do this normally on a Thursday or a Friday. We don't always get to watch the newest episode of WandaVision when it comes out. So since we last had the show, when Nick and Sean were here, the latest episode came out. It was the Halloween episode. It was really cool. It reminded me made me think most of the first X-Men movie, when we were all like, why isn't Wolverine in spandex? Why isn't Cyclops wearing gold and blue and all that? And then you see these, which were these characters in WandaVision, which are put into their comic book costumes. And Vision's was played for a little comedy, but it was 85% accurate. Wanda's was 95% accurate. They look like crap, okay? They really did. If you just want to put on some silk and some spandex and a flowing cape and all that with the foam in the collar, it looks junky, okay? So that's a testament to how great Marvel is doing.
It's funny, though, that they give it an excuse. Why are you dressed like a Sokovian fortune teller?
Right. It is weird. And that was one aspect of this particular episode that they did this time was about, was this the 90s episode where you had like Malcolm in the Middle was the theme and maybe a little bit of Full House. Those were the themes coming forward when they did the theme song and the opening credits. And then being at a Halloween episode, they very coolly put the characters in their comic book costumes. Even Billy and Tommy were put into their comic book costumes. This was the first episode where we got to, in the previous episode, we have Evan Peters show up at the end as Quicksilver, and he talked a little bit about it. His character, again, and there's just so much. These aren't spoilers because we don't know. Nobody knows whether he's Mephisto or Nightmare or whether it's not him at all. I feel like he's different than the other people there, not just because he was brought there, but because he doesn't seem scared of Wanda. He doesn't seem astonished that she's doing this to these people. It's very matter of fact. Where've the kids been all this time? Yeah. I'm sure they were in bed. You don't want to traumatize little kids too much, because this is the first episode in which we see children other than Wanda and Vision's kids. So I feel like whether he's the big bad or not, he's definitely a different type of character. I definitely don't think he's Fox's Quicksilver. I think that's just a little twist that they did. I hope they explain it better than that, other than the fact that, we just threw that in there as a little nod. I don't want that to be the case.
We're going to be dealing with the multiverses of madness.
We are.
So theoretically, the whole Fox thing could be its own multiverse.
Right. And as an aside, for me saying that, people get wrapped up in toys and the spoilers. Here we're in a giant toy store, the greatest toy store around, and the Funko Pop for this figure has Quicksilver in quotation marks. So I hate toy spoilers. Okay, I hate friggin' Lego sets, and I hate stuff like this, or action figures that you look at the back of the card and somebody's taking a shot of the Japanese version or whatever. So. Is that Quicksilver? I'm going to say probably not, just because of that. And I wish I didn't know that, but he's probably not actually Fox's Quicksilver. But But man, I haven't seen in years. I mean, probably since before the first Infinity War came out, when we really didn't know what was going to happen with Thanos. I haven't seen so much speculation and so many wild theories about stuff that's going on. And Disney Plus has got to be eating this up, man. Besides the free press, just all the people that are talking about their thing that they made is just cha-ching, cha-ching.
Well, I think you guys had talked about it before. Someone had mentioned that WandaVision's not boring. It's just people have forgotten how to watch TV.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So back when Lost was on, every week you're like, what's going to happen? But
I'm actually afraid for Falcon and Winter Soldier now because I got a feeling it's got to be a straight spy thriller.
I got a spoiler for that this morning.
I'll tell you something that I think is dumb about Falcon and Winter Soldier theory is people are saying that they think Baron Zemo's mask is got the stripy stripes on it because he's reminding the heroes of Thanos and how Thanos whipped their butts. I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. His mask has looked like that since the '60s or whenever he came around. He's had the purple with the lines in it. But go ahead with your thing if you want.
I don't want to.
Okay, good. I don't want to hear your spoilers, Mike.
Let's just say someone from a previous movie that we didn't know about is also showing up, and that caught me completely.
Oh yeah, we talked about it on the show.
No, this is different.
Okay, because what I said was Don Cheadle needs to shut his mouth.
Yeah, this is different.
Somebody different?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to know that. Because I didn't want to know about Don Cheadle, but he's like, oh yeah, I'm in Falcon Winter Soldier.
I was just scrolling this morning. I was like, I haven't seen him in a while. What's he?
Oh.
Okay.
People have no respect. So, anyway, WandaVision was great. We got, it was much more split down the middle with in the bubble, out of the bubble. Vision, again, crawls out and is dying as he crawls out. It was so cool that the first thing he says as he's literally coming out of this bubble, he's saying there are people inside that need help, okay? And at the end of that anyway, he's pretty much a lump on the ground like he was when after Thanos killed him. So what does Wanda do after being notified by her newly magical son Tommy or Billy? I don't know which is which yet because I'm not familiar with characters yet. And I think this will be the last episode we see them as children. I think next episode they're going to bump up to teens at least. But rather than go get him, she just starts to make the bubble bigger, okay? And Darcy gets caught up in it. We don't know what happens to her. The FBI bad dude, the sword bad guy. He's on his way out. He doesn't seem to get caught up in it. I don't think. I think
he got away, but a lot of his people, the whole carnival popped up.
Yes. A lot of people did get caught up in it, and
because of how they've been playing Monica Rambeau, kind of hinting at her future as Photon,
right?
Because she's gone in and out twice now, I think.
Right.
Could this be ground zero for all mutants?
I don't know. Maybe. Could whatever's happening there could that be mutation? Not evolutionary mutation, but a kickstart mutation.
Because she said it was literally rewriting her DNA from the ground up. So could it be doing that to all those people?
Maybe.
Now it's spread out, so you've got even more.
Maybe. Then we definitely have that definitely puts a very different spin on mutants.
It's going to be interesting because I think it was supposed to be 6 hours total for the whole series. We've got about 3 thus far, and there are 3 episodes left.
Right.
So it's either going to probably be 1 hour apiece, or maybe half hour, 2
like
hour.
40 minutes, I think. We'll see. It's supposed to be 9 episodes though, so we'll see. Anyway, it's a great show. If you're not watching it, you need to watch it. If you feel like you need to drudge through the first 2 or 3 episodes, just watch it. Watch it for what it is, and then try to just pick up a few things here and there that are really going to pay off later. And it's some great storytelling. And Paul Bettany is fantastic in it, and she Elizabeth Olsen is also really good. All the bit players are great. What's that? Plays Agnes, the comedian.
I can't think of her name.
Oh man, she's great. Okay, she's great. And the way she has to switch gears in the middle of a scene between when she's like comes out of her little trance, or maybe she never really was in a trance. It seems like some of them are doing the things they have to do, like and touch you on the head, and maybe you come out of it a little bit. But once in a while, she'll be like, "Do we need to start that again? Do you want to just take it from the top?" That type of thing. That's so weird.
Well, even the guy who was head of neighborhood security during the Halloween thing was like,
Herb.
Yeah, is there anything else you need to change something?
Right. It's a really well done show, and I'm glad people are hanging on.
It makes me wonder, because I remember a decade or more ago, Matrix comes out. You got 3 movies. You've also got the Animatrix. You've got the Matrix video game. And they made it so it all was interconnected.
I know that.
A lot of people... I had a friend who specifically was complaining about the twins from the second movie not showing up in the third movie. I was like, well, they're in the video game. Their whole story continues in the video game.
That's cool.
I'm not going to play a video game. I want it all right here. And I was noticing that, you would have book tie-ins or comic book tie-ins and people didn't care. Now, since we're jumping quite fluidly between movies and television,
Right.
Are people still like that? Are they not going to watch WandaVision? Because I don't want to watch Disney Plus and only watch the movies and then be like, what happened? Who's that? How did that happen? Or are they more fully embracing this whole small screen, big screen?
The audience is so huge now. I really feel like they're following over to Disney Plus and subscribing. Endgame, the highest grossing movie of all time. Consequently, I just saw a graphic the other day that showed how Endgame was the only highest grossing movie of all time that didn't win Best Picture. Every other highest grossing movie of all time won Best Picture. And let's say the top 10. But I really feel like those massive numbers of fans are definitely following it. Now, do they follow the comics? Because there are comic tie-ins. Not everybody does that. But Marvel's smart enough to make things homogenous enough for the everyday, for the dads, the moms that aren't as interested.
Well, it just made me wonder if they are more fluidly liking the idea of going from movie to TV screen.
Yeah.
Does that mean they will start checking out comic books, whether physical or digital?
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. If anything, and I kind of touched on it earlier, I'm glad we're moving. I love movies, man. I love movies. I love the theater experience, but I am glad we're moving to a longer form of storytelling. You just are able to invest in a character more. You're able to tell a better story, a more detailed story, and you don't have to cram in your two main characters. You get 5 or 6 ancillary characters that are able to not only make that main character's story richer, but also develop their own characters and likes and dislikes as well. Whether or not you can be a fan of the Steve Trevor's secretary. If that was a movie, if that was a series, man, people loved her, but she'd have a huge fan base if she was given 10 minutes every week to expand her character a little bit more.
And a lot of times in movies, they'll take 2 or 3 characters and make them into one. Just that one character will have the quality of this one, but you're still missing out. You're not getting the full experience that you could if it was a series.
One more thing before we go. Supposedly this week, we're going to find out who this aerospace friend is. Not neurospace, which is not a thing, by the way. I got on here right after that happened, and I said, she said neurospace engineer. She didn't say neurospace engineer because that doesn't exist. And also she said an aerospace, not a neurospace. Okay, sorry. We're going to find out who this aerospace engineer is. I think it would be fantastic if it was Reed Richards. I'll get up and shout if it's Reed Richards. I don't know if it'll be Reed Richards. I think it'll be somebody else. I don't know.
Well, they've said they're really excited for this guest appearance that's going to be happening at the end. Yeah. Who do you think it could be if it's not Reed Richards?
Initially, I thought it was Monica's the young Skrull girl who was Talos's daughter in Captain Marvel, because they kind of had developed a little bond there on the stairwell for us on screen anyway.
Maybe that's the aerospace engineer.
But this last week, she said, "My guy."
Oh yeah.
We got to meet my guy up on the hill or wherever she said in an hour. Again, maybe being a Skrull, maybe the female Skrull has taken the form of a male aerospace engineer because it's easier in that world. I don't know. But John Krasinski, that would be my. I'll poop my pants. I really think I will. And it's not because I've been feeling weird lately. I think I'll just do it. It was John Krasinski. That's what I hope. I think I'll be disappointed. I hope or not. We'll see. What do you think?
At this point, I mean, we've seen fan casting become real. Mm-hmm. And his has, because he was one of the original frontrunners for Captain America.
Yes, he auditioned and everything.
So yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. They've wanted him to do stuff for a long time. And doing his Tom Clancy show, he's in great shape. And some of the fan art we've seen with him in costume, it's fan art, but it looks
And Marvel
great.
is known for seeding things early anyway, instead of just suddenly dropping a Fantastic Four movie or series.
Yeah. I think that's what we'll see from now on. I don't think we'll see. I think we'll see solos. I think we'll see people introduced in other things. I very rarely think we'll see a Namor movie right off the bat. And that's a bad example because of the rights. But a I don't know, a Sentry, whatever next character they're gonna introduce. I don't think you'll see a lot of solo movies that be the first time we see them. I don't. And again, we're running out of time. You guys went 40 minutes last week. Krasinski is an amazing performer. He obviously is great in The Office. So many times, comedy actors and actresses transfer to drama in such a great way. Tom Hanks or Robin Williams. Those are two big
Michael
shoes to
Keaton
fill.
did it.
Michael Keaton is amazing. People, if you have a grasp of the human experience and able to translate that into workable comedy, then you can understand the human experience in so many other ways that make me feel for you because you're like me, because you're the everyman, and that's what he is. He's a big, tall, muscular dude, but he married to a godly woman, but a godly, beautiful woman. But he's just a dude, and he's a good actor. So I really hope it's him.
What do you think about, because initially when Monica Rambeau was first brought back into Sword headquarters and she was seeing all these things, and he mentioned they're heavily working on AI.
Right.
Do you think they could be using vision tech to create Sentinels?
I'm sure. See, at that point, okay.
Before there are mutants, it wouldn't necessarily be to hunt mutants down. It could be a defensive thing.
Right.
But if suddenly mutants erupt out of Westfield,
right,
and you need some way to contain that,
right,
what's the first thing you're going to try and use is your new toy.
Right. I definitely think we'll find out that they grabbed up Vision's body and were studying it to make more Visions, to make more, whether they're Ultrons or whether they're whatever they are. But if we end up calling them Sentinels, that'd be kind of cool. But Sword is very much sentient weapon, blah blah blah. It seems like they are a defense against super beings of some kind, and unless you are creating super beings, whether they be robotic or biological, I don't know how you're going to go up against super beings. So we'll see. This guy, I don't know. I hope he doesn't turn out to be somebody special and he's just a bureaucrat, because he's almost cartoonish in how he switched his shoot Wanda in the face with a missile. That was kind of crazy.
He definitely does not like superpowers.
He doesn't, and maybe he's got some horrible story like Wanda and Pieta had in the first place, where there's a ticking time bomb with a Stark on it, and maybe that really traumatized him, or maybe he just wants to climb up the ladder. Who knows? Anyway, all right, that's our show this week. Next week, Sean's already gotten to. I'm not sure who we're gonna have. We're gonna have probably a special guest, maybe Todd or Amber, maybe a Gray. Maybe the mayor talks about wanting to come on here. Let's see if he's all talk. Who knows? I'll tell you who we won't have is that Zamboni guy. He is not coming on the show no matter what.
No.
All right, we'll see you next week.